Hello everybody, Mike Wayne here. So this video is going to be a little bit different than I originally intended. It was supposed to be a conversation between my friend Alex Jack and I discussing the Neuromayhem, employment simulation, for sensory overload that he created last year. However, because I am a dumb YouTuber and not a audio engineer, or even a amateur audio engineer, I ended up muting my mic. Yeah, because of course I did. So, what this ended up being was a, I guess, presentation by Alex Jack talking about the Neuromayhem video that he made, as well as the scene that he made. So it's him explaining the whole process, what he did, how he did it, why he did it. It's a really good presentation. So, anyway, please enjoy this video, and I will be posting another video in a couple days. Alright, thanks everybody, and have a great rest of your day.
Oh, so basically what Neuromayhem is it's an opportunity for folks to experience what it's like actually being in a workplace when you experience sensory issues, whether that be due to autism or chronic illness or everything. Because I mean, I've spent so much time, I can talk until my face turns blue about what it's like, but it's just not the same as actually experiencing it. So I wanted to give folks like a real life simulation of the sensory issues that I personally experience and that other folks who experience sensory issues experience in the workplace. Neuromayhem, a simulation of sensory sensitivities in the workplace. The following audio clip is a simulation of Alex Jack's lived experience of sensory issues, executive dysfunction, chronic fatigue, and migraines in an office setting. The scenario is fictional, but the audio is crafted to be as realistic and accurate as possible. Please note that this may be challenging and potentially triggering to listen to if you also deal with sensory sensitivities. It's okay to stop listening if you feel distressed or to read the subtitles instead of listening. The audio works best in stereo sound with over the ear headphones. Because I didn't want to cause anybody undue distress, and I mean, when it comes right down to it, like sensory issues are actually pretty common. And so I just wanted to put that out there, just to prevent anybody from, like being made to feel uncomfortable. Oh, gosh. Well, it's time for work today. I'm really not feeling good. I've got this pounding headache. I barely slept at all last night. And I've got this bloody project that I just need to get done. I wish I could call in sick, because honest to God, I feel like I can barely get out of bed. But I can't do that because I've already called in sick for 8 days this month. And the boss says I'm already on thin ice, so I guess I got no choice. Work is work. I gotta go. And fun fact about that, so I actually recorded that part on a day when I wasn't feeling particularly well. So the tone in my voice is authentic. Well, I guess you would call that a dynamic disability where you don't know, like it's very hard to predict like what your capability is on a day-to-day basis. And that's the case with me, and that's why I have struggled so much with being able to keep a job since I became ill. I mean, I worked part-time, I went to school full-time before I got sick. So like that's hard because I mean, mentally I'm all there, but physically like I can't really do anything about what my body is going to be feeling like. It's not a willpower thing, it's not a choice. Oh, it bothers me even to hear it, so I think I did a good job. Oh, Daniel's got the bloody sniffles. just stay on the work. It's so quiet.
Oh, I know we've all had an experience with a coworker like that, or a friend like that. Oh, darn sniffles. Yeah, so as you layer one sound on top of the other.
Hey Alex, how's that project coming along?
I'm working on it.
Well, keep working, hurry up. If it's not done in an hour, there'll be consequences.
That part was actually recorded by a really lovely friend of mine who's actually the sweetest guy on earth, so it's rather jarring to hear him talking like that. And that's honestly happened to me more times than I can count in the workplace, but that was before I knew I knew that I had ADHD and before I started getting medicated for it. So that was my life throughout. Well, especially in school, like in high school when things got a lot more demanding and there were deadlines to meet. I struggled quite a bit and I had people who were not the nicest to me, but I mean, I'm glad now as an adult I know what's going on, so like have the hindsight to be able to work with my brain a little bit on that regards in terms of the attention and create an environment where I can be most productive. And I think that's really important too, and that's especially pertinent to this whole ADAP thing because employment really is not one size fits all. And like there's no standard what would you call it? There's no standard template for employment. And it just I mean the way that the government is approaching this, like trying to fit everybody into the same like it's destined to fail because everybody's different. People are people. And especially with disability, there's so many more barriers. Are still very much standardized. Like everything is standardized. And the reality is people are not like that. So, I mean, why aren't employment supports geared to fit employment that works for folks with disabilities? When you look at, I mean, you just look at society today. Okay, here comes the anti-capitalist rant. It's like, okay, there's not enough space, like, there's literally there's not enough jobs, like, people have to get crafty and people have to work, like, everybody nowadays seems to be having a side hustle because that standardized 9 to 5 job does not pay enough. So even folks who have normal jobs a lot of times aren't making enough to pay rent, to put food on the table, so they have to stretch themselves even further. And I mean, what happens when we are under high stress? And I know this because I majored in psychology. So we get something called chronic adaptation syndrome where our body literally starts self-destructing, like we get sick because we are pushing ourselves too far and we are stressing ourselves out so much. Like in order to function as healthy human beings, we need balance. Like we need to have all of our needs met, whether that be our need for relaxation, our need for community, socialization, just our need to decompress. I mean, we could go on and on about that, but I'll just leave it there for now. Just trying to go to various doctor's appointments. So it's like, okay, like trying to take care of my health is a full-time job, and yet I'm expected to work when I'm already sick as a dog just from going to medical appointments. And then I rarely get time to socialize with my friends. So, I mean, like, honest to God, what kind of a life is that? Oh, God. This is one of my biggest triggers. And then if you'll notice, I did it so the audio goes in one ear and the next. Oh, so the way that I actually sound together, so I had it so the audio alternates which ear it goes in, which is even more just aggravating. So to add to the effect.
I better answer that. Oh, you've reached the office, oh no. The office of Alex Jack. How can I help you?
That's real brain.
Do you have that work ready for me from yesterday?
Oh no. I'm so sorry. I don't have it ready. I've really not been feeling good.
I already gave you 2 extra days to get it done. Enough is enough. I'm tired of you using this excuse. Everybody gets sick sometimes. Be more responsible and power through it.
Well, I don't know what else to tell you. I'm not being irresponsible. I'm sick. And I can't help it. You know I live with a chronic illness. You wanna know what? I'm done talking about this. Goodbye.
Yeah, when you're grumpy, you're not feeling well, it can be really difficult to remain calm and collected in situations like that.
Oh no, that wasn't professional at all. Oh, I didn't mean to be that rude. Oh, I'm gonna be in so much trouble.
Yeah. Now this is probably, like, I'm sure a lot of other folks with sensory issues, well, autism especially, can relate to this. Like, fluorescent lights make this particular sound, and it makes you feel like you're crazy because, like, nobody else can hear it except for you or any other person who's on the same neurospectrum as you. But it's just, it is just could be one of the most, like, overwhelming sounds out there.
Oh my god! The lights! There's so loud, I can't take it anymore! I need to get out of here!
See, I hadn't done anything like that probably in at least 10 years, so I'm surprised it came back to me so not exactly easily, but it came back naturally to me, like riding a bike, I suppose. But I wanted to just go back for a second about, again, to talk about that bloody fluorescent light. But if you'll notice, like, the reason why I have it so loud is because oftentimes what happens is when you're in of, like, unpleasant sensory stimuli, like, your tolerance can start to drop, so it's like you only have a certain bandwidth to deal with that unpleasant sensory stuff. So, like, what'll happen is people will just hit point, hit maximum level of tolerance, and then things will just become really intense and impossible to bear with. Mental health can also play a big role, in terms of sensory issues and one's tolerance level. And as we know, like, physical and mental health are so closely intertwined, we cannot separate them. So, like, as humans, like, we're all like a whole human being, and there's so many different things that can influence how we are existing in this present moment. And yes, I put a little quip in there about being, like, if you'll notice, it says I'm in a wheelchair, but then the footsteps, that is a reference to being an ambulatory wheelchair user, which the common myth is that folks who use wheelchairs or other mobility devices can't walk at all. But that's often not the case. Like, they have some mobility, just not as much as a person who doesn't have mobility issues has. So what a lot of folks do who are ambulatory is they use a mobility device to help conserve energy or help lower their pain levels, because a lot of folks with chronic pain don't have, like, I mean, moving around more, like, makes their pain level go up, so they use a mobility device to help manage that. And I mean, that's not always the case. There are so many different reasons out there for somebody to use a wheelchair and be ambulatory. They also made a comic book that's essentially what happened after this meltdown. So originally I was only going to just record that audio simulation, but then, like, I felt inspired after that because I'm definitely a problem solving kind of guy. So I thought, okay, so what can we do to fix this situation? How can we prevent this from happening? And so I wanted to continue on the narrative. And I made a zine here, as you'll see. And this is the story of what happened after that incident that Alex had. All right. I guess I can read off. I wrote quite a bit about it, quite a bit about my own beliefs and my passion about workplace accessibility. So let's face it, employment can be a challenge if you have a disability. It's hard to find a job that's willing to accommodate you. Even if you do, employers aren't always particularly understanding if you encounter difficulties on the job. So, as a person who's autistic and lives with chronic health and mobility disabilities, I've navigated several of these challenging experiences. in the workplace. So I decided to create a realistic simulation of what it's like dealing with sensory issues and chronic illness while facing the pressures of a demanding workplace. So yeah, it goes without saying it's based on my own lived experience. Um, I guess going back to what I said earlier, so I originally recorded just the audio simulation, but I felt inspired to continue the narrative after thinking what could be done to fix this. And knowing the kind of fierce disability advocate I am, I went on to ponder, what does a radically inclusive workplace actually look like? And so I strongly working conditions and employee well-being dramatically improve, not only for those needing accommodations, but for everyone when companies make accessibility a priority. It's all about universal design, yo. I guess that's my little logo avatar. The motivation behind that was, so when you look at that wheelchair symbol, it really only represents one body type, and so I wanted to make one that was representative of my own body type, and so that's me, the fat guy in the wheelchair. All right, and then here we go. Here's a little bit more background information about the comic we're about to see. Um, so the following comic is about how I imagine the approach of radical inclusivity and what a compassionate response from a company that utilizes the genuine lived experience of people with disabilities would look like. So nothing about us without us. And then as you'll see that first picture there, that's a picture actually at the art show that this project was exhibited at. And so that is me instructing an attendee through the audio simulation. You'll see he's got headphones on there. That is our wonderfully amazing supportive MLA, Lauren Dack. Needless to say, we are very blessed to have him. All right, I guess I'll skip this paragraph. I'll go down to the last one here. So when I originally exhibited the entire project at Albertans Advocating for Change Together's 2025 Employment Arts Fair, I also created a hands-on interactive portion where people could try out simple and cost-effective workplace accommodations. There are instructions at the back of the zine on how to recreate this experience for yourself if you'd like to. And so the picture that is one of our wonderful ACT members, Colleen. And so she is trying out this hands-on sensory friendly experience. She's sitting on comfortable couch to symbolize comfortable seating. She's got what are they? Those noise canceling, like hearing protection earmuffs, if you want to call them, to simulate, I mean, keeping the volume levels down. And she's also wearing sunglasses to simulate a dim lighting that's friendly on the eyes. And then what is that last thing? Oh, that's funny. So it's a Ziploc bag that says smell me, and inside are some makeup pads, and you expect to smell something, but you smell it and there's nothing there. And so that of course simulates a scent-free workplace. All right, and now we get on to the little comic story here, which was made with a program called Pixton, which have to definitely extend my thanks and gratitude to Colleen Houston of the Disability Action Hall for um, giving us access to this wonderful program. Um, all right, so the first panel, the HR person, Rick, notices Alex in distress. And this was after Alex ran away from his office. And I guess clearly you can see his wheelchair at one point. And so Rick is saying, Alex, are you okay? And Alex doesn't really have anything to say. He's immediately quite compassionate. And so they say, oh dear, you look like you're having a particularly hard time. Why don't you go home for the day and we can have a meeting about it tomorrow? And you can see Alex with his little depression storm cloud over his head. So this is the next day. And so Alex is thinking, he's thinking, why are they bringing this up? Oh, my creator, I'm about to be fired. I just know it. So, okay, I guess clearly Alex is experiencing some anxiety there. Um, and so you have Rick sitting behind their desk and they're saying, so Alex, when we hired you, you disclosed that you have sensory issues and you struggle with your energy levels from day to day. So, oh my, cliffhanger here. And Alex quickly um, jumps in to be overly apologetic because I mean, like, he's used to just having to like explain himself away and oftentimes fawn because he's used to people. I suppose what would the word for it be? Judging him because of his disability. So he's saying, "I'm so sorry. I should have disclosed just how bad my issues are before you hired me." And so Rick says back to him, "No, it's okay. I just wanted to apologize on behalf of the company because it seems we haven't been doing enough to ensure your needs are being met. I hope someday that this becomes a reality." And so Alex is we're going back to my character here. Alex, he's baffled, he's absolutely confused. And so he's thinking to himself, "What? They're actually being nice to me? This is usually the time when HR tells me that I'm not a good fit for the company." So you can clearly see that Alex encountered a lot of barriers in the past in the workplace. Okay, so we're going back to Rick here, and Rick is saying we're beginning to realize that although our offices have been designed to be fully mobility accessible, we haven't considered the access needs of those with less visible disabilities such as yours. And so, I guess that's particularly important there because oftentimes, when just general people or places of employment think about accessibility, they think about, person in the wheelchair. So they're thinking, how do we make this wheelchair accessible? But I mean, as we all know, there are so many other kinds of disabilities that one would need accommodations and changes for. So I just wanted to raise awareness of that with this particular panel. Okay, and then Alex just gets so excited that he starts he starts doing what is called stimming, which is something that autistic people do, like to regulate their senses, or they do when they're excited. There's a variety of different reasons why people do that, and it varies from person to person. So in this case, Alex gets very, very excited because he's never been treated so nicely by an employer, and he's just blown away. And so he starts flapping his hands and he starts laughing. That's usually how I do the verbal stimming. Yeah. Um, and so Rick goes on to say, and notice there's a big smile across Rick's face, which I mean that says a lot. But anyway, so Rick is saying, "So with your assistance and permission, we'd like to do an accessibility audit to make sure that our workplace is accessible and comfortable for all of our employees. How do you suggest we start?" Which, okay, that in and of itself is powerful because Rick is essentially saying, like, Rick is asking Alex and recognizing that you know, Alex has a level of expertise in accessibility because he is the person who lives with those access needs. The problem that I have with the way accessibility is looked at, like, is it is that standardized cookie cutter approach, but the thing is those accommodations are not designed by people with disabilities. So oftentimes they end up not working. And I mean, I've had a lot of incidences of this, and I mean, Mike, you can definitely vouch for that because you have been with me when the wheelchair accessible place actually isn't wheelchair accessible after all. All right. Okay. So Alex feels a little bit of I guess what would that be? A little bit of embarrassment, remorse that he just let his authentic autistic self come out. Um and so he's saying, "I'm so sorry, that was rude." And you see a look of despair on his face. And then here we go. This is pretty magical in my opinion. So Rick responds with, "It's okay, Alex. I understand. I'm also autistic, so I know that was a positive thing. You don't have to apologize for how you experienced joy. So how should we proceed with the audit?" And then you'll see Rick is holding a fairly common sensory toy, a fidget spinner, and that fidget spinner is talking and saying Rick likes to stim too. Well, and I mean, it shows like just seeing somebody with the disability themselves being represented. I mean, it just shows I think that goes a long way in terms of normalizing disability instead of seeing it as like some kind of deviance or some kind of problem. Like, I don't know. I just strongly believe that disability is a natural part of human diversity. It doesn't mean a person is less than or more than. It just is. It's just a part of humanity. It's okay. And so here's where Alex really gets to shine. So he's saying back to Rick, "Well, I think it should be a collaborative process done by people with lived experience of disability. I can offer my own suggestions And I have a good friend, Mike, who's a professional accessibility consultant who lives with disabilities. I think he'd be perfect for the job. And then Rick says, "Oh, Alex, this sounds great. I will check in with our manager and give Mike a call tomorrow. I'd also like to be a part of this accessibility committee myself, if that's all right with you." And so, for the next few months, Alex, Mike, and Rick worked tirelessly to identify and address the barriers in the workplace. Mike was also hired by the company to provide ongoing support to employees as required. Company policies were changed to allow Alex and other employees to work from home and attend meetings virtually on their low energy days. The office was also improved to be more sensory friendly. Employees reported feeling more comfortable and relaxed at work with the new accommodations and policies. As a result, their productivity tripled. Well, yeah, and I mean, people with disabilities have the potential to make life better for everybody, not just ourselves. All right, so here, this is just so this is the section where I had that live demonstration of which you saw the pictures of earlier. All right, and then here is a script for folks to read along to with the that what is it? The audio script transcription, or if they're not able to access the original audio recording, they can just read the script. It's all in the name of accessibility. And I did try to copy the style of an actual stage play. It's not exact, but I mean, all right. So this last page here, you'll see that's a flyer of that employment arts fair that we were talking about earlier that this project was originally at. And then you'll see there's my personal information and business card on the bottom right hand corner. So that is a small company that a good friend of myself and I started. And it is basically to help with that sensory accessibility, like especially at conferences and local events and everything. And so what we do is we bring in essentially a mobile sensory room, a relaxation space. And then we bring along we bring along things such as earplugs, masks, sunglasses, sensory toys for folks to take, folks to borrow and use at the event. So I believe if you click on the link tree, we have a direct email listed on there. Yeah, because we've also created like a lot of literature and reading materials to help folks learn more about sensory accessibility. And then we've also created our own communication board. We do custom social stories as well. To be honest, I forgot how extensive this was. It's been a while. I also wanted to add, another thing. So both Ricky the valuable lived experience of, living with sensory issues ourselves, so we have a lot of insight. But if you wanna know more, feel free to shoot us a message. Yes, Mike, thank you so much for this opportunity to share. I really appreciate it.